Good afternoon, dear viewers. Welcome to a new edition of Echoes of the Past, the program where we explore the origins of the civilizations that shaped our history. Today, we travel many centuries back to the time when the lands of the Northern Europe were inhabited by powerful and enigmatic tribes, the Jutes, Saxons, Angles, and Celts, along with the mysterious Druids, guardians of ancient knowledge. Join us as we discover how they lived, how they were organized, and why their influence remains present in the culture, language, and traditions of the modern United Kingdom and Europe. To begin, we connect with our correspondent who tell us about three fundamental peoples in the formation of England: the Jutes, the Saxons, and the Angles.
Hi, my name is Kevin, and today we're going to talk about the correspondence on the Jutes, Saxons, and Angles. We're now in what would be the northern region of present-day Germany and Denmark, the original homeland of the Jutes, Saxons, and Angles. Around the 5th century after the fall of the Roman Empire, these Germanic tribes began a series of migration to the British Isles. Their arrival marked the beginning of a new era known as the Anglo-Saxon period. The Jutes settled mainly in the Kingdom of Kent, the southeast of England. They were skilled sailors and traders. Their geographic location allowed them to maintain contact with the continent and to spread new customs. The Saxons, originally from northern Germany, occupied the southern and western parts of England. They were known for their military discipline and their social structure based on service to the king or local leader. Among their most important kingdoms were Wessex, Sussex, and Essex, names that still remain in English geography today. Finally, the Angles settled in the northern and central parts of the island. From then comes the term England, which literally means land of the Angles. These three people share a common Germanic rooted language, which over time blended with Latin and Celtic, giving rise to the Old English. They also introduced their own legal system, known as the Early Common Law, and their polytheistic religion before the arrival of Christianity. Their society was organized into clans or rural villages where agriculture and livestock were the foundation of the economy. Warriors held a place of honor, but loyalty, hard work, and justice were also highly valued. The Jutes, Saxons, and Angles not only conquered new lands, but also laid the foundations of what would later become the Kingdom of England.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joseph Avila, and today we're taking a journey back in time to explore one of the most mysterious, influential, and fascinating cultures in European history, the Celtic civilization. If we travel even further back in time, we find the Celts, one of the oldest and most influential civilizations in Europe. They spread from present-day Spain to the British Isles and northern Italy, though they were especially strong in Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and Brittany. The Celts did not form a single empire, but rather a network of independent tribes united by a common language and shared beliefs. Each tribe had its own leader, called a king or a chieftain, and a council of wise men who advised him. Their society was divided into three main classes: nobles and warriors, who defended the clan, artisans and farmers, who produced goods and food, and a very special class of priests and scholars, the Druids. The Celtic culture was deeply spiritual. They believed in the connection between human beings and nature. Their gods represented the forces of nature, such as the sun, water, forests, and animals. In addition, the Celts were excellent metal workers. They created weapons, jewelry, and sacred objects with an artistic level that even amazed the Romans. Although the Celts left no written records, as their traditions were transmitted orally through generations, their legacy endures in myths, folklore, and cultural symbols. Their stories of heroes like Cuchulainn and King Arthur have Celtic roots, and many festivals of the modern Western world owe their origins to ancient Celtic celebrations. For instance, Halloween traces back to Samhain, the Celtic festival marking the end of the harvest and the beginning of the winter, a time when it was believed that the boundary between the living and spirit world grew thin.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Juan. I hope you are doing well. Today I'd like to share something truly fascinating the story of the Druids. The Druids were the spiritual and cultural leaders of the ancient Celtic world. They served as priests, teachers, youths, and advisors, people of great wisdom and respect. Even kings would often turn to them for before making important decisions. They believed that true knowledge should be written down; instead is passed from teacher to students through memory and spoken word, keeping the wisdom alive through generations. Their ceremonies took place in nature, in sacred forests, rivers, and stored circles like the famous Stonehenge. There they honored their gods, performed symbolic rituals, and celebrated ancient festivals such as the Samhain, the origin of Halloween, and Beltane, the festival of fire and life. It is said they were so respected that the cool stood but let simply by raising a hand. Their spiritual authority was unquestioned. They studied many fields: astronomy, medicine, philosophy, and religion, truly the scholars of their time. Their influence faded with the rise of the Roman Empire and Christianity, and the legacy of the Druids still lies in on Celtic legends and traditions. They remain as ancient timeless, the value of wisdom, the power of spirit, and the importance of living in harmony with nature.
My name is Diego. Through this broadcast, we have learned about peoples who, although they disappeared more than 15 centuries ago, still live in the memory of Europe. Jutes, Saxons, and Angles laid the foundations of medieval England. The Celts bequeathed us the art, music, and sacred worldview. And the Druids remind us that knowledge and spirituality can be powerful forces in maintaining social harmony. Their legacy can still mean the language, national symbols, and traditions we continue to celebrate. Understanding these civilizations also means understanding the origins of much of Western culture. This has been Echoes of the Past, the ancient civilizations of Northern Europe. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. See you in our next episode, where we'll continue exploring the echoes that time has not been able to erase.